Welcome in for another edition of the Morning Espresso here on the SDH Network. I'm Jason Longshore, and as always, the Morning Espresso is brought to you by our friends at Oglethorpe University, Atlanta's premier undergraduate learning experience and soccer powerhouse. Not a fun evening last night when it comes to the CONCACAF Nations League for those of us in the United States. The U.S. men's national team lose on a stoppage time goal to Panama in the Nations League semifinal. U.S. outshot Panama 12-3, 5 on target, 9 corners, 3 for Panama, two-thirds of the possession. Yeah, none of that matters, does it? It's a goal in the last minute of stoppage time. That's the difference. And it's a frustrating one for the U.S. because this is a very talented United States men's national team roster. You have some players playing at big clubs, but and this was a conversation that I had last year at the end of Copa America for the US. It's a conversation that I had, I think, before that. It's a conversation I had at various points during the Greg Berhalter tenure. The manager has limited options to make the group better if the overall talent pool is what it is. And here's the thing, this is a very good U.S. men's national team roster. It's talented. There are good players in it. There is one real game changing, consistent player. And look, he didn't have a good night last night, Christian Pulisic. Uh, Chill on the conversation about Pulisic because he has been that guy and he's been that guy for a long time. Um, you're not running Christian Pulisic off of the national team. You're not running a few other guys off of the national team who have given you everything you need, but you might need some different faces. But here's the thing, and this is what's going to end up handicapping Mauricio Pochettino, just like it handicapped Greg Berhalter and every previous U.S. men's national team manager. Talent wise, this group is, anywhere between 15 to 30 in the world. I think in a good year, and depending on how things go, you can be as high as 10. But I said it many times, and to try to give you a basis of comparison here. All right, if you are looking at the college football rankings, and I don't want to pick on us on any specific school, but you're ranked number 20, and you're consistently number 20. You're a team that you're used to being ranked number 20, so you're probably third, fourth in your conference, but you're a 20th ranked team. You're always getting to that point, but you're always failing to get into the elite level, or maybe you get into the elite level once every in a while. Do you expect an NC State to win national championships on a regular basis? Do you expect them to win ACC championships on a regular basis? Do you expect them to the point that you're having meltdowns when they don't? No, because the talent level is what the talent level is. We need to see long-term improvement of the talent level, and that doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen in one generation, and it has been happening. You're better now than you were 10, 15 years ago. Certain generations are going to stand out. That's a different conversation. But you're better overall with a wider talent pool, a deeper talent pool than you've been in a long time. But it's the top end talent that changes everything. And you haven't had enough of those guys come together in this group. And you are limited in what you can do. You're facing a team in Panama yesterday, and give them a ton of credit. Christensen brought them in to play a 5-4-1. It's a narrow field. It's just under 70 yards wide. 5-4-1. There is no space. They were completely content to take the game to extra time and even take the game to penalties. They did their jobs. But the U.S. did not find a way to change the game when they saw how the game was going to get played. Pochettino said, if you don't have aggression, it's impossible because the opponent knows we're going to play into the feet. You are going to play safe. You are not going to take risks. If you want to play football, you need to take risks. You need to go forward. You need to win duels, sometimes 50-50. He wants to make that part of the U.S. men's national team DNA. He said, you're the USA, but you cannot win with your shirt. Said they were hungry for every ball like it was the last one. you can feel the difference on the field. I agree with all that. And that's where you're in this really weird in between right now for the US. You have a lot of talent, you have a lot of players playing at big clubs. Maybe that never say die attitude of being disrespected is not there enough in this group. I think it's lazy to bring Berhalter's time into it, and a lot of people did that in headlines and in tweets and social media messages and all of that. It's lazy to say the players didn't want it. That's not true. These are professional athletes. Of course they wanted it. But there's a difference between wanting it and, like Pochettino said, being hungry for every ball like it was the last one, and the point that there is a difference in that. The fact that you might not be the first ones to initiate that kind of attitude, but when you see it in your face, you got to respond, right? And the U.S. didn't enough. You got to get into the specifics. I think what Pochettino said about needing to take risks is the most important element here. You needed players who were willing to win and sometimes lose 1v1s. The ball needed to move faster, especially once you saw what Panama was going to do. You needed to show more urgency, and I think it's in a willingness to change the tempo. Sometimes, even against this kind of team on this kind of a field, which the surface was great, it just isn't wide enough because they haven't taken the first three or so rows out at SoFi yet that they'll do for the World Cup. You need to play some long diagonals to try to get in behind, knowing that you probably won't win it initially, but you got to keep the ball in the field of play and then press. You gotta change it. Like, if you're just gonna keep going at them as they're facing you and they're taking away the space, you're gonna run into a wall unless you win a 1v1. And look, if you're not, you gotta find something else. And sometimes it's those long diagonals over the top with as much of an intention to set up a press as it is to actually get in behind because there's not a lot of space. You gotta do something, right? And that something never really happened in this game enough. I thought Tim Weah had a good game. I thought in the second half, especially, he was showing some of the things that you want to see. Pulisic didn't have his best night. Josh Sargent did not answer the question up top. Patrick Agyemang had chances as well. You weren't good enough. You got beat by a really good, well organized Panama team that played the underdog role well, spoiled your day, spoiled your night, had an incredible moment with the goal from Waterman and the celebration with Thierry Henry, which was brilliant television. I know Moadou and Clint Dempsey hated it, but you have to give Panama credit, but you also have to look at what can be better. And there's not easy answers here. Anybody who tells you that there is lying to you. This is a longer term process. And what you want to see now is the response. And you get a third place game against Canada, who lost 2-0 to Mexico in the nightcap last night. Raul Jimenez had a brilliant day. First goal after 45 seconds, second goal, an incredible free kick. You have to be better. And the other element from the broadcast side that I did want to touch on is Tony Meola's absolutely brilliant analysis on the technique from Matt Turner on that shot from Waterman. I agree with him that sharpness is an issue, and maybe that corrects some of the deficiencies here. But if you've ever wondered everything that goes into goalkeeping on a shot like that, go watch the clip. Golazo America posted it. It's on Paramount Plus. It's in the postgame show. Absolutely brilliant conversation getting into not just positioning, but details of how he explodes, how he doesn't really explode off of his right foot, which is the one that should be pushing him out to it, how he's not quite ready as the shot is taken. All of those elements, it's so good. If you've ever wondered, you have to watch this, go and find it, and just beyond all that, the quality of the analysis, so good to see Tony Meola and hear him on the game. One of the greats in American soccer on so many different levels, broadcasting included. Not a fun night for the U.S. men's national team. It was a fun night for Mexico. They get that 2-0 win. They'll face Panama in the Nations League final on Sunday. The U.S. will play Canada in a third place game that nobody wanted. Maybe it will come in with some uh, ill-tempered affair is what that one could be. All right, let's go to South America quickly as I've lingered way too long on the U.S. men's national team and their match last night. Miguel Almiron in Paraguay, a big win for them, 1-0 over Chile in Asuncion. 7 straight unbeaten for Paraguay. They are in very good shape in terms of qualifying for the World Cup. Gustavo Alfaro doing a great job with the Paraguayans. Brazil and Colombia. Brazil got the lead. Colombia tied it. Looks like it's going to be a 1-1 draw. 10 minutes of stoppage time. And Vinicius Jr. with a shot. Great shot. Does take a slight deflection. Ends up in the back of the net. And Brazil, after a rocky start to qualifying, they're going to be okay. The top 6 are going to be okay in South America, barring something really crazy happening. I think those 6 are going to get in. Who finishes where? I don't know yet. One other element about this Brazil game that was baffling. So Vinicius has the winner. He's going to get subbed out after this because then there was even more stoppage time added on. Rafinha and Cunha had to stop Vinicius from getting booked for time wasting in terms of getting off the field. They go over and they're like getting him off the field because he's doing all the dumb things that players do to waste time in stoppage time. And now there's rules in place and referees are taking it more seriously. I don't know what the rules are in the CONMEBOL qualifying about. I don't think there's a 10-second limit like there is in MLS, but it's get off the field. He's not getting off the field. Rafinha and Cunha start pushing him to get off the field. It looks like he's going. Then he stops again after they turn around and he's like messing with his socks. And Rafinha has to come running over again to push him. Why is this a big deal? If he'd gotten a yellow card, he would have been suspended for the game against Argentina on Tuesday. A huge game. Was he trying to? Like, that's the question I have now. Was he trying to get suspended to miss a game against Argentina? If you're a Brazilian legend like Vinicius Jr., and he is that good, you don't intentionally try to miss a game against Argentina. What is happening? Like, what was this? Full credit to Rafinha, who is your Ballon d'Or winner, in my opinion. Uh, Craziness from Vinicius. Watching it back again, it made me angry again. Peru, Bolivia, Luis Abram, Efrain Morales, they both started. The Peruvians 3-1 win. And look, they got a shot now. As Nino Torres said on SDH AM yesterday, you win both games in this window, you got a shot. They're 3 points out of the playoff spot right now behind Bolivia. They play Venezuela next. All eyes today are on Venezuela. They go to Ecuador. A win, it'll give them a little bit of control on that playoff spot in 7th place. If they get that, they'd go to 15. That would mean that Peru and Chile would be 5 and 6 points back. If Venezuela doesn't win or draws, everybody's in the mix. Peru is only 1 point back. They could pull level with the 7th place spot if they beat Venezuela on Tuesday. It's still interesting in South America. I hate that the World Cup qualifying is not the same as it used to be. I do like that the format has stayed the same. Argentina's leading, then Brazil, then Uruguay, then Paraguay, then Ecuador, then Colombia. 1 through 6, they're all going to go. 6 points back to the playoff spot for Bolivia in 7th right now. Venezuela could make that 15 if they can get a win in Ecuador today. Really quick update on some of the other continents. South Korea, Australia, and Iran are best poised to qualify next out of the Asian Football Confederation. Japan clinched their spot, the first ones to do so yesterday. New Zealand and New Caledonia will play for the qualifying spot out of Oceania. Chris Wood of Nottingham Forest had a hat trick of headers in a 7-0 win over Fiji. New Caledonia beat Tahiti 3-0, all 3 goals coming in the second half of that one. In Africa, Mali, they might have a shot. They got a big 3-0 win on the road against Comoros. It was played in neutral Morocco. Benin, they are in a qualifying spot right now. 2-0 win, or 2-0 draw. Sorry, they had a 2-0 lead and they drew, but they are still in top spot. That was a draw against Zimbabwe. Nigeria maybe can get back on track. They play Rwanda in one of the biggest games on the African continent today as Nigeria tries to climb back up. They can get to 2 points out of the spot to qualify with a win. Mozambique, they beat Uganda 3-1. They are 3 points ahead of Algeria, although Algeria plays today. Denny Bwanga, a double to score 2 of the 3 for Gabon in a 3-0 win over the Seychelles. Cabo Verde, they got a win 1-0. They are in the top spot of their group after Cameroon dropped points. Kenya, a wild 3-3 draw against the Gambia. Benny McCarthy's first game in charge of Kenya. And Sierra Leone, they are in a good spot at the moment. They beat Guinea-Bissau 3-1. U.S. Open Cup roundup, New York Pancyprian Freedoms. They became the 6th cup set winners. Penalties needed, but they beat FC Cincinnati 2 after a scoreless draw. This is a team that has 3 Open Cups to their name: 1980, 1982, 1983, when the North American Soccer League teams did not enter the tournament. UEFA World Cup qualifying starts today. Finally, England and Albania. England are unbeaten in their last 31 World Cup qualifiers. They have a perfect record against Albania, 6-0. Albania have never beaten a top 10 FIFA ranked team in a competitive match, losing 17 of 19 such encounters. Thomas Tuchel, this is his first game in charge for England. He was a little critical of the 2024 Euros for England, said that the team were, quote, more afraid, unquote, of defeat rather than, quote, having the excitement and hunger to win it, unquote. Little different than where the U.S. was last night, but along the same lines of that. And I would agree, after watching that England team in the Euros in 2024, it felt like they played a little more afraid than they needed to in the last tournament under Gareth Southgate, who did an amazing job, took them as far as he could. We'll see if Tuchel can get it over the line for England. And the big game tonight, Uruguay and Argentina. Uruguay unbeaten in their last 2 qualifiers, a 2-0 win over Argentina in November. Argentina, they have not won any of their last 3 qualifiers away from home, but they have won 3 of their last 4 games against Uruguay overall. No Lionel Messi for Argentina, no Lautaro Martinez, who left the Argentina camp due to muscle discomfort. Heading to Cincinnati today, Atlanta United and FC Cincinnati on Saturday is a 2:40 p.m. kickoff, an early kick. Pre-game coverage will start at 1:30 on 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. Abe Gordon, Madison Cruz will get you started there. Also, earlier in the day, 9 a.m., the Atlanta United U18s will be playing CF Montreal in Marietta at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground. Nick Alifi and Madison Cruz will have the call for you. 9 a.m., atlutd.com/live. And I'll be back on Monday with another edition of the Morning Espresso presented by Oglethorpe University.